The phone rings at 3 in the morning, and I already know it's bad news. No one calls at this hour to share their joy. Grandma? Emma's voice cracks through the speaker. I need you. My heart pounds against my ribs as I sit up in bed. Liam stirs beside me, his hand reaching for mine in the darkness. What's wrong, sweetheart? I'm pregnant. 2 words. Just 2 simple words, and suddenly I'm back in that sterile hospital room, watching my daughter Olivia slip away while a newborn Emma wailed in the nursery. The memory hits me like a physical blow, stealing my breath. Where are you? I managed to ask, already swinging my legs over the side of the bed. At home. Ryan's... He's not here. He stormed out when I told him. Of course he did. That worthless boy, always chasing his dreams of becoming the next big DJ sensation, leaving my granddaughter to deal with this alone. I'm Sierra Thompson, and I've spent the last 18 years raising Emma after losing my only daughter. I won't let history repeat itself. Stay where you are. We're coming over. Liam's already dressed by the time I hang up. He knows. He always knows. That punk Ryan better pray I don't find him first, he mutters, grabbing his car keys. The drive to Emma's apartment is silent, heavy with unspoken fears. We find her curled up on her couch, looking so young and vulnerable it makes my chest ache. Her mascara has left dark trails down her cheeks, and she's clutching her phone like a lifeline. He said he's not ready, she whispers as I pull her into my arms. Said his career is just taking off, that a baby would ruin everything. Liam's jaw tightens. That boy works for me now. He'd better start thinking about his responsibilities. Daddy offered him that job 3 months ago, Emma explains to me, hiccuping through her tears. Ryan's been showing up late, leaving early, says the construction work is just temporary until he gets his big break. I stroke her hair, but my mind is already racing ahead, plotting and planning. We'll figure this out, baby girl. You're not alone. I'm scared, she admits, her hand drifting to her still flat stomach. What if something happens like with Mom? The question hangs in the air like poison. Liam turns away, but not before I catch the shimmer in his eyes. We've never fully recovered from losing Olivia. How could we? Nothing's going to happen to you, I say firmly, even as my own fear threatens to choke me. We're here. We'll take care of everything. My phone buzzes. A text from Jenna Carter, Ryan's mother. Just heard from Ryan. He's at some club downtown. I'm so sorry, Sierra. I don't know what's wrong with that boy anymore. I show the message to Liam, watching his expression darken. He owns Thompson Builders, the largest construction company in town. One word from him, and Ryan's future in this city could vanish like morning dew. Let me handle Ryan, Liam says quietly. I'll make sure he understands what's at stake. But I'm already forming my own plans. Ryan Carter thinks he can abandon my granddaughter, leave her to face this alone. He has no idea what I'm capable of. I made a promise over Olivia's grave to protect Emma, and I intend to keep it, no matter the cost. Emma finally drifts off to sleep on the couch, exhausted from crying. As I cover her with a blanket, my phone lights up again. Another text from Jenna. Ryan's booking a flight to Miami. Says there's some big music festival he can't miss. I look at my sleeping granddaughter, so much like her mother it hurts, and feel something cold and hard settle in my chest. Ryan Carter is about to learn that some decisions have consequences that last a lifetime. A week passes, and Emma moves back home with us. I watch her unpacking her things, fitting her life back into her childhood bedroom, and my anger toward Ryan grows with each passing hour. He's coming over today, Emma announces at breakfast, pushing her untouched toast around her plate. Says he wants to talk about everything. Liam's coffee cup hits the saucer with a sharp crack. About time that boy showed his face. Please don't start, Grandpa, Emma pleads. He's trying. I bite my tongue until I taste copper. Trying? Running off to Miami for a week while your pregnant girlfriend cries herself to sleep isn't trying. But I promised Emma I'd give him a chance, so I force a smile and clear the dishes. The doorbell rings at noon. Ryan stands on our porch in a designer t-shirt that probably cost more than a week's salary at Thompson Builders. His eyes are bloodshot and there's glitter still stuck to his neck from whatever club he crawled out of. "Mrs. Thompson," he nods, trying to slide past me. I plant myself firmly in the doorway. "Emma's resting. You can talk to her in the living room." Liam's already there, sitting in his armchair like a judge presiding over court. Ryan's confidence wavers as he takes a seat on the edge of the couch. "Emma," I call upstairs. "Ryan's here." She comes down slowly, one hand unconsciously resting on her stomach. The sight makes Ryan shift uncomfortably. "Baby, I've been thinking," he starts, and I have to grip the back of Liam's chair to keep from interrupting. "This timing, it's not great. I've got this huge opportunity coming up. This producer in Miami wants to sign me for a residency at his club." Emma's face crumples. "What about the job at Thompson Builders?" "That was temporary, you knew that. This is my real chance, Emma. I could make it big." "And the baby?" Liam's voice cuts through the room like a blade. "Is that temporary too?" Ryan runs his hands through his styled hair. "Look, I'll send money when I can, but I can't be tied down right now. My career—" "Your career?" I step forward and Ryan actually flinches. "You mean playing other people's music in dark rooms while drunk college kids dance? That's more important than your child?" "Grandma, please," Emma whispers, but I'm beyond stopping now. "You want to know what a real career looks like?" I gesture to Liam. 30 years building a company from nothing, supporting his family, being there when— My voice catches, memories of Olivia threatening to overwhelm me. Ryan stands up, defensive. "I'm not trying to be like Mr. Thompson. This is different. Emma, you understand, right? We're young. We've got our whole lives ahead of us." "No," Emma says quietly, and we all turn to look at her. "I don't understand. This baby is coming whether you're ready or not. I thought you loved me enough to at least try." "I do love you. That's why I'm being honest instead of making promises I can't keep." A bitter laugh escapes me. "Honest? Was it honest when you told Liam you'd take the job seriously? When you promised Emma you'd always be there for her?" Ryan's face darkens. "With all due respect, Mrs. Thompson, this is between me and Emma." "Nothing about my granddaughter is just between you and her," I snap. "Not anymore. Not after what happened to her mother." "Sierra," Liam warns, but the words are already out. Emma stands up suddenly. "I can't do this right now. I need some air." She rushes out the back door and Ryan moves to follow her. Liam rises from his chair, blocking his path. "Sit down, son. We need to have a serious discussion about your future at Thompson Builders." I leave them there, following Emma into the garden. She's standing by Olivia's rose bushes, tears streaming down her face. "I really thought he'd change," she whispers as I approach. "I thought when he came back, he'd realize what matters." I wrap my arms around her, feeling her shoulders shake with silent sobs. Through the window, I can see Ryan gesturing angrily at Liam, his face red with indignation. Something cold and calculated settles in my chest as I watch him. "Don't worry, sweetheart," I murmur into Emma's hair. "Everything's going to work out exactly the way it should. And I know exactly how to make that happen." The neon sign of the underground pulses against the night sky as I sit in my car, watching. 3 hours I've been here, waiting for proof of what Jenna Carter told me this morning. "He's supposed to be at work," she'd said, voice cracking. "But I found these flyers in his room. He's been doing secret DJ sets when he should be at the construction site." The side door opens, and there he is. Ryan Carter, who should be handling inventory at Thompson Builders, is instead loading equipment into a beaten-up van. My fingers tighten around my phone, already recording. The timestamp will be perfect evidence for Liam. A girl in a crop top follows him out, laughing as she hands him something that glints in the streetlight. Cash. My jaw clenches so hard it hurts. Emma's at home right now, suffering through morning sickness that lasts all day, while this worthless boy plays his games and collects under-the-table money. I step out of my car, heels clicking against the pavement. Ryan freezes when he spots me, guilt flashing across his face before it hardens into defiance. "Mrs. Thompson," he says, trying to sound casual. "What brings you here?" "Funny. I was about to ask you the same thing." Liam's been wondering why the inventory counts keep coming up short. The girl looks between us, sensing tension. I should go, she mumbles, retreating inside. You following me now? Ryan's voice has an edge. That's kind of crazy, don't you think? Crazy as lying to your pregnant girlfriend while you chase pipe dreams in dirty clubs. I hold up my phone. Should we show Emma this video? Or should we start with Liam? His face darkens. You don't understand. This gig paid more than I make in 2 weeks at Thompson Builders. I'm doing this for Emma, for the baby. By stealing time from your job? By lying? I'm not stealing anything. I'm building my future. The club owner wants me to open for some big names next month. This could be my break. I laugh, and it sounds bitter even to my ears. Your break? While Emma can barely keep food down? While she cries herself to sleep wondering if you'll ever grow up? Don't pretend you know what's best for Emma, he snarls, stepping closer. You're so caught up in your grief over her mother that you can't see you're suffocating her. Emma understands my dreams. She supports me. The mention of Olivia hits like a physical blow. You don't get to speak about my daughter. You don't get to use her name while you're out here destroying everything we've built for Emma. Built for her or built to control her? His words drip with venom. Maybe if you hadn't kept her so sheltered, she'd understand there's more to life than following your rules. Something snaps inside me. Rules? You think protecting her is about rules? My daughter died bringing Emma into this world, and I promised her. My voice breaks, but anger pushes me forward. I promised her Emma would have a good life, a safe life, not this mess you're creating. The only mess here is you, Mrs. Thompson, living in the past, trying to control everyone because you couldn't control what happened to Olivia. The sound of my palm striking his face echoes in the empty parking lot. We both stand there, shocked by the sudden violence. You have one chance, I say, my voice deadly quiet. One chance to make this right. Come clean to Liam tomorrow, apologize to Emma, and commit to your responsibilities. Or I'll make sure you never work in this town again, in construction or clubs. Ryan rubs his cheek, eyes burning with hatred. You know what? Do your worst. Emma will see you for what you really are, a bitter old woman who can't let go. And when she does, you'll lose her too. He climbs into his van and peels out of the parking lot, leaving me standing there with my hand still stinging. My phone buzzes, a text from Emma. Where are you? Ryan's not answering his phone and I'm not feeling well. I look at the club's neon sign, then at the video I've recorded. Ryan thinks I'm bluffing about destroying his chances in this town. He has no idea what I'm capable of, what lengths I'll go to protect my family. On my way home, sweetheart, I text back. Then I make another call. Jenna, we need to talk about your son, and this time we're going to do more than just worry. Jenna Carter's kitchen smells like burnt coffee and regret. She hasn't stopped crying since I showed her the video of Ryan at the underground, mascara creating dark rivers down her weathered face. I found these too, she says, sliding a stack of papers across the table. Credit card statements all maxed out in Ryan's name. He used my address to apply for them. I had no idea until the collection calls started. My hands shake as I flip through the charges. Airline tickets, DJ equipment, hotel rooms, thousands of dollars of debt, all while he's been telling Emma he's saving for their future. There's more, Jenna whispers, and something in her voice makes me look up. The producer in Miami, he's not real. Ryan's been lying about everything. He paid some guy to pose as a talent scout at his shows. The revelation hits me like a physical blow. Does Emma know? Ryan swore me to secrecy, said he just needed time to make it big, then he'd pay everything back. Jenna's laugh is hollow. I wanted to believe him. Every mother wants to believe in their child. I think of Olivia, of all the dreams I had for her that died in that hospital room. Sometimes believing isn't enough. My phone buzzes, a text from Emma. Grandma, please come home. Something's wrong. Fear grips my chest as I stand, already reaching for my keys. I have to go. Sierra? Jenna catches my arm, her eyes desperate. Whatever you're planning, remember Ryan's still my son. I meet her gaze. And Emma's still my granddaughter. I find Emma curled up on the bathroom floor, pale and shaking. The sight sends me straight back to Olivia's final days, and for a moment I can't breathe. The doctor said it's just severe morning sickness, Emma manages between heaving breaths. But Ryan won't answer his phone. I needed him, and he won't answer. I help her to bed, rage building with every whimper of pain. Once she's settled, I check her phone. Dozens of unanswered messages to Ryan, while his social media shows him setting up for another club night. Liam appears in the doorway, his face grim. Just got a call from the site manager. Ryan hasn't shown up for work in 3 days. I know where he is, I say, showing him the social media posts. And I know what he's been hiding. We step into the hallway and I tell him everything. The credit cards, the fake producer, the lies. With each revelation, Liam's expression darkens. I'll fire him first thing tomorrow, he growls. No, I say, surprising myself. Not yet. I have a better idea. Sierra? There's a warning in his voice. He knows me too well. Trust me, I whisper, just as Emma calls out from her room. We find her sitting up in bed, staring at her phone in disbelief. Ryan just posted that he's quitting Thompson Builders. Says he's moving to Miami next week to start his music career. Her voice cracks. He didn't even tell me. I sit beside her, taking her trembling hands in mine. There's something you need to know about Miami, sweetheart. But before I can continue, Emma's phone lights up with a call from Ryan. She answers on speaker, her voice small and hurt. Were you going to tell me? Baby, this is my chance. His words slur slightly. He's been drinking. Come with me. We can start fresh, away from your grandparents' control. I feel Emma stiffen beside me. What about the baby? We can figure that out later. This producer, he's offering me everything I've dreamed of. There is no producer, I say loudly, unable to stay silent. Tell her the truth, Ryan. Tell her about the credit cards, the lies. The line goes quiet for a long moment. Then Ryan laughs, a cold sound I've never heard from him before. You just couldn't help yourself, could you, Mrs. Thompson? Had to stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Ryan, Emma's voice trembles. What is she talking about? Ask your grandmother about control, he spits. Ask her why she really keeps you so close. It's not about protecting you. It's about replacing your mother. The words hang in the air like poison. Emma looks at me, questions and accusations warring in her eyes, and I realize this fight for her future just became much more complicated than I imagined. The contractions start at midnight. I'm awakened by Emma's scream, a sound that tears through 18 years of carefully constructed walls and drops me right back into that hospital room with Olivia. Something's wrong, Emma gasps when I reach her bedroom. It's too early. My hands shake as I help her to the car. Liam's already calling ahead to the hospital, his voice steady but his face ashen. We've been here before. We know how this story can end. Call Ryan, Emma pleads between contractions. Please, Grandma. He needs to know. I grip the steering wheel harder, remembering the social media posts from earlier. Ryan's latest update showed him at some music festival in Miami, his arms around 2 girls in bikinis. The timestamp was just 3 hours ago. But I make the call anyway because Emma's asking, because she's scared, because she's so much like her mother, it hurts. Voicemail. Of course. Ryan, Emma's in labor. She needs you. Get on the next flight home. I pause, swallowing my pride. Please. The emergency room is a blur of activity. Emma's blood pressure is too high, the baby's heartbeat too low. Everything's happening too fast, just like before. Mrs. Thompson? A nurse touches my arm. We need your granddaughter's medical history. And the father's? I'm handling it, I snap, but my hands won't stop shaking as I fill out the forms. Every beep of the monitors sends another crack through my composure. My phone buzzes. A text from Ryan. Can't leave now. Biggest show of my career tonight. Tell Emma I'm sorry. The phone crashes against the wall before I realize I've thrown it. A nurse jumps, startled, but I'm already moving, pushing through the doors to Emma's room where she's crying, asking for Ryan. He's not coming, is he? She reads it on my face. He's really not coming. Emma, sweetheart. Don't. She turns away, tears mixing with sweat. You were right about him. You were right about everything. The monitors start screaming. Doctors rush in, shouting terms that sound too familiar. Preeclampsia, emergency C-section, the same words they used with Olivia. No, I whisper, but they're already wheeling Emma away. No, not again. Please, not again. Liam catches me as my knees buckle. This time is different, he says firmly. Emma is stronger. We know what to watch for. My phone lies shattered on the floor, but Liam's still works. I grab it, dialing Jenna's number. Where is he? I demand when she answers. Where exactly is your son? Sierra, please. Your son is about to lose everything. His girlfriend, his child, maybe both. Just like I lost Olivia. Tell me where he is. There's a long pause. The Ultra Music Festival. He's opening for some DJ at midnight. I check the time, 11:45 p.m. What stage? Sierra, what are you planning? The same thing you should have done years ago. I'm going to make him face reality. I hang up and turn to Liam. Stay with Emma. I need to make some calls. Sierra, I promised Olivia I'd protect her daughter. I failed her once by letting that boy into Emma's life. I won't fail her again. I step into the hallway, pulling up contacts I haven't used in years. Old friends who owe favors. People who know people. One call to the festival's security chief, who still remembers when I helped his daughter years ago. Another to a local news station that loves scandal. A final call to the Miami police about those credit card fraud charges Jenna discovered. By midnight, Ryan Carter's big break will become his biggest nightmare. But as I hit dial on the first number, Emma's monitor alarms start blaring again, and a doctor rushes past me shouting orders. For a moment, I freeze. Is this revenge worth the cost? Am I doing this for Emma, for Olivia, or for myself? Then I hear Emma cry out for her mother, and my resolve hardens. Some choices can't be undone, but some consequences can't be avoided either. I press send, and the wheels of destruction begin to turn. The surgery takes 6 hours. I pace the waiting room like a caged animal, watching Miami news feeds on my phone as Ryan's world implodes in real time. Security footage of him being escorted off stage. Police waiting in the wings. His face splashed across local news as credit card fraud charges break. It should feel like victory. Instead, all I can think about is Emma's last conscious words before they wheeled her into surgery. Mom, I'm scared. She wasn't calling for me. She was calling for Olivia. Sierra! Liam's voice cuts through my thoughts. He's standing in the doorway, his face unreadable. Emma's out of surgery. The baby? His silence tells me everything. The NICU is too quiet, too sterile. Emma's daughter, my great-granddaughter, lies in an incubator, smaller than any baby should be. Tubes and wires make her look like a science experiment rather than a newborn. 20% chance, the doctor had said. The next 48 hours are critical. My phone buzzes, a text from Jenna. They're holding Ryan without bail. What have you done? What have I done? I look at this tiny baby fighting for life, at Emma unconscious in recovery, and suddenly my carefully orchestrated revenge feels hollow. Mrs. Thompson? A nurse appears with paperwork. We need the baby's name for the birth certificate. Her mother's not awake to... Given the circumstances, we need it now, for the records. I stare at the form, pen hovering over the blank space. In my mind, I hear Emma calling for her mother, see Olivia's face the day she told me she was pregnant, feel the weight of 18 years of guilt and grief and rage. The nurse clears her throat. Mrs. Thompson? Olivia, I write, then immediately scratch it out. My hand shakes as I realize what I've almost done. I'm doing exactly what Ryan accused me of, trying to replace one loss with another. I can't, I tell the nurse, pushing the form away. We have to wait for her mother. My phone rings. It's the Miami police detective wanting a statement about the credit card fraud. I send it to voicemail. Another call. The local news station, hungry for more details about the disgraced young DJ whose girlfriend is fighting for life while he sits in jail. You should eat something, Liam says, appearing beside me. You've been here 12 hours. I can't leave them. Sierra. He takes my hand, forces me to look at him. This isn't Olivia. What happened then? It's not happening again. Isn't it? Emma's unconscious. The baby might not make it. And I'm standing here just as useless as I was 18 years ago. You're not useless. I'm what? A vengeful old woman who sent her granddaughter's boyfriend to jail while she was in surgery? Who almost named her great-granddaughter after her dead mother because I can't let go? The monitors on the baby's incubator start beeping. Medical staff rush in, and we're pushed aside, forced to watch through glass as they work to keep this tiny life from slipping away. My phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. Ryan using his one phone call. I hope you're happy now. You've destroyed everything. And suddenly I realize he's right. In my quest for revenge, in my desperate need to protect Emma from suffering Olivia's fate, I've become exactly what I feared. Someone who hurts others to avoid their own pain. The beeping stabilizes. The baby lives for now. But as I watch her tiny chest rise and fall, I understand that this was never about protecting Emma or honoring Olivia's memory. It was about me, trying to control what I couldn't bear to lose again. I need to fix this, I whisper. How? Liam asks. Before I can answer, a nurse rushes out of Emma's room. She's waking up, she says, and she's asking for Ryan. The weight of what I've done crashes over me like a wave. I've spent so much time fighting to prevent history from repeating itself that I never stopped to consider I might be the one making the same mistakes, just in a different way. Now I have to face Emma and tell her what I've done, and this time there's no one to blame but myself. The Miami-Dade Detention Center smells like industrial cleaner and despair. I sit across from Ryan, separated by scratched plexiglass, and for the first time, I see him clearly. Not as the villain I've made him out to be, but as someone's child, barely older than Emma. Your daughter's fighting for her life, I say into the phone receiver, while you're in here because of what I did. He leans forward, eyes bloodshot. Finally admitting it? That you set me up? I made the calls, yes. But you set yourself up, Ryan. The credit card fraud, the lies about the producer. I did what I had to do to chase my dreams. At least I'm honest about who I am. He presses his palm against the glass. What's your excuse? Before I can answer, a guard approaches with paperwork. Carter, your bail's been posted. We both stare in surprise. Through the visiting room window, I see Liam talking to a clerk. Why? Ryan asks, suspicious. Because Emma needs to see you, and you need to see your daughter. The drive back to the hospital is tense. Ryan sits in the back seat, still wearing his festival wristbands. I catch his reflection in the rearview mirror. He looks terrified. She's small, I warn him. Smaller than you're expecting, and there are lots of tubes. I can't do this, he blurts out. I'm not ready to be someone's father. Liam pulls the car over so suddenly we all lurch forward. Neither was I, he says, turning to face Ryan. When Olivia told us she was pregnant with Emma, I was terrified. But you know what? Being ready doesn't matter. Being there does. The NICU is quiet when we arrive. Emma's awake, sitting in a wheelchair beside the incubator. She doesn't look up when we enter. Emma, Ryan starts, but she cuts him off. Don't. Her voice is raw. I don't want your excuses. I want you to look at her. Really look at her. Ryan steps closer to the incubator, and I see the moment it hits him, the reality of this tiny life he helped create. His hands shake as he reaches toward the glass. She needs a name, Emma says quietly. I've been waiting, hoping you'd want to be part of that decision. The silence stretches. Ryan presses his forehead against the incubator, shoulders shaking. When he finally turns around, there are tears on his face. I can't give her what she needs, he whispers. I can't give either of you what you need. I thought I could fake it until things worked out, but seeing her like this... Ryan. No, Emma, listen. Your grandmother was right about me. I'm not ready for this life, and pretending I am would only hurt you both more. I step forward, guilt crushing my chest. Ryan, I was wrong too. What I did was protect your family, he finishes. I get it now. I really do. He turns back to Emma. Name her whatever you want. She deserves better than what I can give her. Emma's face crumples, but there's relief mixed with the pain. I think I've always known, she admits. I just needed you to say it. Ryan nods, then pulls something from his pocket, his hospital ID bracelet from when he was born. Maybe give this to her? So she knows I existed, that I saw her, even if I couldn't stay. He walks out without looking back. Through the window, we watch him hand his visitor's badge to the nurse, shoulders straight, but head down. I'm sorry, I tell Emma, though the words feel inadequate. I thought I was protecting you, but I just made everything worse. No, Emma says, surprising me. You forced us all to face the truth, even if your methods were extreme. A ghost of a smile crosses her face. You're just like Mom that way. The baby stirs in her incubator, tiny fingers flexing. Emma reaches through the port to touch her daughter's hand. Hope, she says suddenly. Her name is Hope Thompson, because that's what she gave me. Hope that I'm stronger than I thought I was. I look at my granddaughter, seeing not just echoes of Olivia now, but something entirely new and resilient. And I realize that sometimes protecting someone means letting them find their own way through the pain. Hope comes home on a quiet Tuesday morning. The doctors call it a miracle. I call it Thompson's stubbornness. She's tiny but fierce, just like her mother, just like Olivia. Emma insists on carrying her through the front door herself, though her C-section scar still pulls when she walks. I hover behind her, hands ready to catch them both, until she gives me a look so much like Olivia's that I have to step back. I've got this, Grandma, she says softly. You don't have to carry everything anymore. The nursery we've prepared isn't the one Emma and Ryan painted together months ago. That room, with its half-finished music note border, remains closed. Instead, we've converted my sewing room, the one where I used to sit and stare at Olivia's old photos when the grief felt too heavy. As Emma settles Hope into her crib, the doorbell rings. Through the window, I see Jenna Carter standing on our porch, clutching a small package. I won't stay, she says when I open the door. Ryan asked me to bring this before he leaves for California. The package contains a USB drive and a handwritten letter. My hands shake as I read it. What is it? Emma asks, appearing behind me. His first real song, I say, scanning the letter. He wrote it for Hope. Says he wants her to know he chose to leave because staying halfway wasn't enough, for any of you. Emma takes the USB drive, turning it over in her hands. Did we do the right thing, letting him go? Before I can answer, Hope's cry echoes through the baby monitor. Emma straightens, instinct already kicking in. Would you mind, she asks Jenna, coming up to meet your granddaughter? Jenna's eyes fill with tears. I didn't think, after everything? She should know all her family, Emma says firmly, even the complicated parts. I watch them climb the stairs together, these two women bound by circumstance and choice, and realize something about protection I never understood before. Sometimes it means stepping back, letting others forge their own connections, even if they're different from what you imagined. Later that night, I find Emma in Olivia's old room, Hope asleep against her chest while Ryan's song plays softly from her phone. It's surprisingly good, a gentle melody about choices and consequences, about loving something enough to let it go. Mom would have handled this better, Emma whispers, tracing Hope's tiny features. She wouldn't have tried to control everything like we did. No, I admit, sitting beside them. She would have trusted love to find its own way. Even when it hurt, even when it meant watching people make mistakes. Is that why you kept her hospital bracelet? The one she wore when she had me? I freeze. I've never told anyone about the bracelet tucked away in my jewelry box, saved from the day we lost Olivia and gained Emma. How did you... Found it years ago, Emma says. That's why I kept Ryan's. Not for Hope, really. For me. To remember that sometimes loving someone means accepting when they can't stay. Hope stirs, her tiny hand wrapping around Emma's finger. In the soft lamplight, I see 3 generations of Thompson women reflected in their faces. Olivia's strength, Emma's resilience, Hope's future stretching out before her. I've been thinking, Emma says suddenly, about taking some college classes. Online at first, while Hope's small, maybe business courses. Business? She nods. Thompson Builders will need new leadership someday, and I want Hope to see that her mother built something too, even if her father had to leave to find his path. I think about revenge then, about how I thought destroying Ryan would somehow protect Emma from pain. But here she sits, stronger for having faced that pain herself, making choices I never would have imagined. Your mother would be so proud, I whisper, but Emma shakes her head. She'd be proud of all of us, she corrects me, for learning to love without trying to control the outcome. Hope sighs in her sleep, and Ryan's song fades to silence. Outside, the world continues turning, full of possibilities we can't predict or protect against. But in this moment, watching my granddaughter hold her daughter, I finally understand what Olivia tried to teach me. True protection isn't about preventing pain. It's about being there to witness the healing.